Okay, everyone, we are going to call our meeting to order for Committee of Adjustments a little after 2 o'clock. And Sandra, do you want to give an explanation of the process of the hearing to the public, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you said, this is Committee of Adjustment, and as each application comes forward, the chairperson will announce the application, and I, as the planning coordinator, will provide a synopsis of the planning report. The report is available on the township website should anybody wish to review it. Following that, the floor will then be open to the public. The order of speaking is as follows. Those persons in support of the application, those persons in opposition to the application, those persons seeking clarification, and the applicant will have an opportunity to respond at the end of all of that if required. Please note that when speaking, you must address your comments and questions to the chair, and we advise that before speaking, you must clearly and slowly state your name and address so that the Secretary-Treasurer can ensure that the record is complete. We also request that you come up to the microphone so that all information is heard by all members of the audience. Members of the committee may make comments or ask questions as necessary, and the committee may make a decision on the application this afternoon. The reasons for their decision and the impact of public input will be provided by the committee members. Those persons requesting a copy of the notice of decision must do so in writing to the Secretary-Treasurer, or you may sign the file sheet in the lobby, and please be sure you are signing the correct file sheet to obtain the information you require. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Sandra. Confirmation of today's agenda. Mover on that, please. Pat, seconder Scott, all in favor? That's carried. Any just general nature thereof? Anyone? There being none. Approval of the minutes of July the 10th. Bill, Gary, all in favor? Carried. Any business arising from those? We do have one, and it is a request for an extension of deferral time. Senator, do you want to speak on that at all?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you are aware, earlier this year, there's an application for 3 consents for new lot creation. The applicant was required to have a natural heritage evaluation because of the wooded area on the property. Committee deferred their decision rather than put the natural heritage evaluation as a condition in case that evaluation took longer than the 1 year permitted by the Planning Act to fulfill all conditions. The applicant was notified of the decision for deferral and also notified of committee's policies and procedures with respect to deferrals, that applications are supposed to return within 3 months or request for extension. That particular 3-month note was missed, and the applicant is now coming back basically 1 month late because August was not an active month for the committee.
Yes.
Coming back at the 4th month seeking extension.
Okay.
I believe that things should be coming forward in the next month or so for finalization.
Okay. Any comments or questions on this? Anyone? No? Motion to give the deferral. Gary, second Pat, all in favor? That's carried.
Is there a specific timeline committee would determine, or just?
Want to give a timeline on your motion? 3 months?
Another 3 months max? Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Gary, I'll move 3 months, and who seconded it? Pat, you seconded it. You're okay with that? All in favor then? That's carried.
Thank you.
Yeah, the file numbers are, is it the application numbers, B01, 02, and 03-18? Yeah. Okay, next up we have minor variance, and it's A1018 Taylor, and that's at 2 Ravine Drive, Baltimore. Can I give the report, Sandra, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's recommended that the request for variance be approved, as in the opinion of the planning department. It is minor in nature. It maintains the intent of the zoning bylaw and official plan, and it is appropriate development for the land. The notice of public meeting was circulated on or before August 22, 2018, and the signs were posted on the property on August 17, 2018, in accordance with the regulations of the Planning Act. The application is seeking relief from the zoning bylaw to permit the construction of a 440 square foot detached accessory building shed. It's replacing an existing smaller shed in the urban residential first density zone. This variance is with respect to section 525.2 to permit the detached accessory building to sit proud of the exterior side of the principal building by approximately 10 meters or 33 feet. The applicant says that they cannot build within the required setback behind the line of the house because there is a ravine and no level ground behind the house. The proposal appears to be in keeping with the provincial policy statement and the township official plan, as both documents permit detached accessory buildings. Again, Section 525(2) of the zoning bylaw requires that a detached accessory building be behind the front line or the exterior side line of the principal building, the house. In this case, the proposed building will be closer to the road than the house by about 10 meters. The building will be L-shaped, and the building itself is about 336 square feet with an additional concrete pad extension that will result in a 440 square foot footprint. Building department, their comments, they were concerned about the septic bed, and they require a Northumberland County review to ensure the proposed structure will not create a negative impact. The alternative is to increase the setback from the existing bed on the application for variance. The building department will also need more detail on the existing shed to ensure a permit is not required for demolition, and a building permit is required for the new structure. Township Public Works had no objections. Since authoring the report, a letter has been received from the Conservation Authority. They have no objection to the approval of the application with respect to matters under the jurisdiction of the authority. In conclusion, again, the commenting agencies had no objections, subject to satisfying the building department. A detached accessory building is intended to be secondary and subordinate to a primary residential use. The existing 130 square foot detached accessory building already sits proud of the house, and is proposed to be replaced by 336 square feet, but not to be any closer to the road than the existing building. As always, the committee must satisfy itself that the 4 tests of a variance are met prior to granting relief. Is relief minor in nature? Does it maintain the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw? Does it maintain the general intent and purpose of the official plan? And is it desirable and appropriate development for the use of the land? Should the committee grant the variance, recommended that a condition be imposed that the existing detached accessory building be removed from the property via appropriate permits. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Sandra. Now call upon the public. Those in support, is there anyone here in support? Do you wish to speak on it, or just answer questions as necessary?
Just answer questions, Chair.
Okay. Anyone opposed, seeking clarification on this one? There being none, committee members, questions, anybody? There being none, motion to approve with the recommendation given by staff. Scott, Pat, all in favor, carried, and you can now go ahead and build your building.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I'll be in touch. Thank you.
Next up, we have new business dealing with consent. So we have B1218 DeYoung, and that's at 8456 Cavan Road.
Oh, pardon me? Yeah, you should have reasons and...
And the last one?
No public input.
No, and it's the only place to build.
Thank you.
And we're on to the DeYoung one. I've already announced it, so go ahead.
Okay, thank you. This application was circulated on or before August 21, 2018, and the signs were posted on the property on August 15, 2018, in accordance with the regulations of the Planning Act. This is for 8456 Cavan Road, part lots 17 and 18, concession 7. The application is seeking consent to sever to create one new residential lot with house and outbuilding as being surplus to a farming consolidation. The severed lot will enjoy 226 feet of frontage on Cavan Road and 1.4 acres of area. The retained parcel will enjoy 877 feet of frontage on Cavan Road with 99.8 acres of land. Property is within the natural linkage area Oak Ridges Marine designation of the official plan. It is zoned Oak Ridges Marine linkage with underlying permanent agricultural provisions. The proposal does appear to be in keeping with the provincial policy statement, which does allow creation of residential lot in prime agricultural areas, provided that it is the residence itself is surplus to a farming operation as a result of consolidation, provided that the new lot will be limited in size and 1.4 acres appears to be appropriate, and provided that the planning authority ensures that that new residential dwellings are prohibited on any remnant parcels. So a zoning bylaw is recommended as a condition, sterilizing the farmland from future residential uses. That's how Township has addressed this before. There appears to be 3 barns and a Quonset hut on the property from an air photo that I have, but I believe the applicant has said that those are coming down.
Fire right now.
Okay, they are down. The applicant also owns land directly across the road to the south, and it is a separately conveyable lot, and sterilization of that separately conveyable lot will not be required, because they could put a house on it today, so we're not going to change the rules for them in the future. With respect to the official plan, again, the property is within the Oak Ridge Marine Conservation Area, and the proposal does appear to be in keeping with the policies of the Oak Ridge Marine Conservation Plan and the Township official plan, as no new buildings are being proposed and the ecological integrity can be maintained. With respect to the zoning bylaw, 2001-58, as amended by bylaw 2004-22, the parent lands are zoned Oak Ridges Marine linkage with permanent agricultural underlying requirements that require 45 acres of land and 328 feet of road frontage. The proposal meets or exceeds these minimum provisions. The severed lands are proposed to be approximately 1.5 acres in size with 226 feet of road frontage, and a zoning bylaw amendment is required with respect to the underlying zone provisions for the residential lot that'll be changed into rural residential provisions. The proposal appears to be otherwise in keeping with the zoning bylaw. By definition, development charges are imposed with respect to growth-related net capital costs. There's already a house on the property, and the remnant parcel will be sterilized with respect to residential uses. Agency comments received. Hydro One had no comments or concerns. Northumberland County, based on their discussion within their letter, they had no objection, provided that it is a result of a farm consolidation and minimum distance separation calculations are applied, which didn't seem to be of concern here. And Public Works had no objections. So in conclusion, the proposal does appear to be in keeping with the governing documents. Should the committee grant the application, it's recommended the following conditions be imposed, subject to the submission of 3 hard copies, a PDF, and an AutoCAD copy of a reference plan identifying the newly created parcel, subject to submission of a surveyor's real property report of the subject lands, illustrating the location of all buildings and structures with respect to the lot boundaries, subject to the successful completion of a zoning amendment, rezoning the severed parcel rural residential or special if required, depending on setbacks, and rezoning the remnant parcel special permanent agricultural to prohibit development of future residential uses and recognizing any deficiencies with respect to zone provisions. Subject to the receipt of an affidavit from a solicitor in good standing stating that the remnant lands have been conveyed to a bona fide existing farm operation. This statement shall include the name and OFA registration number or the equivalent thereto of the farming operation and a description of other farmlands within the consolidated ownership. Payment in full of all current and outstanding taxes to the date of consent and stamping of the deed within 1 year. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Sandra. Those in support of the application, Mark, do you want to say anything or just answer questions as needed? Okay, anyone opposed, seeking clarification, anyone? There being none. Committee members, any questions? Pat, yes?
I just have a question I need clarification on, I think from Sandra. If, like, the property is divided by the road,
Correct.
if the property that the lot is being severed off had separate ownership, would they be allowed to get that lot severed off?
I think I need to rephrase that. If the northern lot within separate name from the southern lot,
Yes. Would they be eligible for a,
yes,
they be
because the
eligible
applicant has
for-
indicated he has farmland elsewhere, as well as across the road.
Yeah.
So the statement from the solicitor, that's a condition, will also list what farmland he has.
I guess, I don't think I'm wording my question
Okay.
properly. Let me try, I'll tell you where I'm aiming, and then you can tell me what my question is. There are times where you can get a severance even in farm areas, depending on whether you've had 3 severances, et cetera. If this was a totally separate property, all by itself, and the owner came in and said, I'm hoping to sever off this one chunk, because it's prime agriculture, we would tell them no normally?
Correct?
Okay, that's.
And
that-
because it's the moraine, it would
Right.
be a double no.
I'm
If
fine
it
with
was
the no
a
then.
rural designation outside of the moraine, then we can talk.
You just answered what I was trying
Okay.
to, where I was trying to go. Thank you very much.
Any further questions? Can I get a motion to grant the severance then, please? Gary, second Bill, all in favor, and it's carried unanimously, so, very good.
We'll be in touch. Thank you.
And next up, we have B1318 Crocker, and this is at 2909 Stu Black Road. And Sandra, do you want to give the report to this one, please?
Thank you. The application was circulated on or before August 23, 2018. The signs were posted on the property on August 23, 2018, in accordance with the regulations of the Planning Act. This application is seeking to sever to create one new residential lot. Sever lot will enjoy 217 feet of road frontage on Stu Black Road with 1.45 acres of area. The retained parcel will enjoy 162 feet of frontage on Stu Black Road with 1.08 acres of land and the existing residential building. The property is within the rural designation of the official plan. The provincial policy statement does permit severances such as this in the rural character, in the rural area of the municipality, provided that on-site sewer services and on-site water services can be provided. The official plan for the township, the property is within the rural designation, and the rural designation does permit severance of a residential parcel. The proposed lots will meet or exceed the minimum requirements of the rural residential zone. This is not considered to be strip development as per the definitions within the official plan. I did review the proposal with respect to minimum distance separation calculations. There does appear to be a horse farm within the 111-foot radius of the subject lands, but the barn itself is over 1,800 feet from the existing lot line. MDS was performed, and the minimum separation requirement based on 3 horses for the 800 square foot barn is the 265-foot setback. Other farm animals within the specified radius are further away from the parent property than what was calculated. So I didn't do any further calculations than for the one property that was close. Cash in lieu will be required, as is our practice, and this is the first request for consent from the benchmark date of 2003. The parent property was the subject of consent in 2000. So the proposal does appear to be in keeping with the township official plan. With respect to the township zoning bylaw, the parent lands are zoned rural residential, which requires 150 feet of frontage and 1 acre of land. Both the severed and retained would exceed these minimums. And it does not appear that a zoning amendment will be required, as a survey sketch of the retained parcel was submitted and the house will exceed the minimum setbacks. So this does appear to be quite straightforward with respect to the municipal planning documents, and the proposal does appear to be in keeping with the zoning bylaw. Again, development charges will be imposed as required. Agency comments: Hydro One had no concerns, Public Works had no concerns. However, Northumberland County in their review did note, pardon me, that The growth plan for the Greater Golden Horseshoe has recently been revised as of approximately February of 2018, and it has redesignated what we do currently call rural lands into what they want to be prime agricultural lands. And as such, the growth plan is contrary to this particular proposal, or the proposal is contrary to the growth plan. The growth plan, there's an implementation document, and it states that all land use decisions in the Greater Golden Horseshoe must implement the new agricultural system. Otherwise, in respect of the governing documents and the comments received from outside agencies, it's the opinion of this department that this proposal would have met the intent of these documents. I should also note that Conservation Authority did submit a letter on August 28. They had no objection under their mandate. Due to the growth plan and the agricultural system revisions, it's recommended the application be denied. However, should the committee grant the application, it's recommended the following conditions be imposed: submission of the reference plan as our standard practice, payment of lot levy of $1,000, payment of development fee of $6,101, payment of all current and outstanding taxes, and stamping of the deed within 1 year. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Sandra. I presume you're the applicants, and do you wish to speak on this or just answer questions? Okay. Sorry, could you please give your name for the record? Yep.
My name is Christine Cocker. I live at 2909 Stew Black Road. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for giving me the opportunity to speak today. I just wanted to let you know that my husband and I, Richard, we have lived in this area for over 20 years. We moved from Baltimore. We sold our house, and we were still hoping to live in the Hamilton Township, obviously because we love the area so much and the people here. At the time, we couldn't find anything in the market to suit our needs. At that point, we did run into some property, which is the one that we own currently, and decided at the time would be a perfect lot, as it was already severed by the original farm owners, as they deemed it surplus area and severed it for residential. We built our existing house on one side of our lot, knowing that we would have the intention down the road to build a much smaller house, as we have 3 children and knew that the post-secondary costs would be coming at us. We are at that point right now. We started the process of severing a while back with Sandra over the past several months. Just because this is brand new to us this year, it's kind of taken us as a sidebar. I also went through and asked the opinion of our lawyer on what he thought, because I wasn't really good at reading the last email that was sent out. His response was that he didn't see how this could be turned down on the basis of a policy that land is prime agriculture area, when they deemed this piece of land surplus to the Schellengrager farms when it was originally severed through the 2001 and rezoned and not going back to agricultural lands. Also, it's saying that's a provincial growth plan that says you can't do this. That is only a plan, not a law. And the argument is that these lands were already taken out of the agricultural land base in 2001. Sorry. I'd also like to note that we did meet with the county contact himself when we got this email. He mentioned that this new policy is questionable, and that they thought that they're already doing a good job of policing the area for anything that was deemed not considered agricultural land. So I'm hoping, and based on the newness of this policy, and given the information that I gave you today, that you would grant us in favor of the request to approve this severance.
Okay, thank you for that. Is there anyone here opposed or seeking clarification? There being none, I'm just going to speak a little on this, because I mean it's one that's kind of fallen. You're kind of in the middle of the crack, so to speak. And I did talk to Dwayne, the planner at the County of Northumberland this morning, and his thoughts are, what's happened is you've got caught because all of a sudden this new mapping's come out, and you've fallen in jurisdiction with the new mapping. But because you've already started your program, your plan, and so forth, at this point, he says it's up to committee, but end result is it's new. And because you've already started, committee may have that flexibility to still grant this, but the province could deny it, of course. But chances are, since you've started, and since we don't want to set a precedent that we're going to, pass these, from here on. But this one in particular, we may be a little bit lenient on because of the activity that you've already done. So I'll just throw that at Committee of Adjustment so that you're aware that this one is in the middle of the cracks. That plan was thrown at us. There was never any consultation or anything that could be done on that new plan. It was something that the province just threw at us. This is the way it's going to be. And basically what you've said, that, you're now to police it as we've done, put it down to you. So I'll throw that at the committee and I'll let you ask questions now. So, Gary?
I'm not going to really question my comment as I was concerned about this morning when I reviewed it again. And I did contact his worship, and I must say I wholeheartedly, because that was my thoughts, and I must say that I wholeheartedly agree with it.
Anyone else wish to speak? Pat, yes?
I was actually going to speak on this as well, but Mrs. Cochran did a very good job of saying much of what I was thinking. But the biggest one for me, in terms of how I feel about it, is the size of the lot to start with. Like, with 2 acres, you're not ever going to use 1 acre of prime agricultural land. And even though it may get challenged, I honestly think we should approve it.
Any further comments or questions? Bill?
Just clarify, obviously it's not being used for any kind of farm activity at this point. No, it's already been taken out of production.
Correct.
And Scott, anything? Yes?
I will vote to make the motion if you allow me.
I would love for you to go ahead.
Motion to approve with the conditions identified.
Okay, and Pat will second. All in favor? And it's carried unanimously. So would you put that in the minutes, Sandra, and also maybe put in the minutes that we're not going to set precedent by passing this today, so that maybe when the province, if you do have to fight this one, they may have some leniency knowing that.
Thank
Okay?
you very much.
Thank you.
Good luck with it.
Okay.
We'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Sandra, do we have any other business?
I do not. I should correct myself. We also had a letter from the conservation with respect to the Zhang application. Oh, yeah, I should have read this one out.
A little late now, we've already passed it.
It's good stuff. Note the following subject lands are located outside the regulatory jurisdiction of the Conservation Authority. Permit's not required. And it's located in the moraine and is subject to the conservation plan. And otherwise, they have no objections.
Who's signing those letters?
Mr. Ken Thayer, he is the new coordinator of planning and regulation of the Conservation Authority.
What's his name? Sorry?
Ken Thayer, Thajer.
And you're receiving those late, I presume, under the circumstances.
They were received late to the deadline that I requested. I think he was there all of 3 days,
Okay.
so it was quite understandable, but obviously in time for me to speak to the letters today.
Can we get a motion just to receive that letter? I guess for information purposes, we better receive it so we have it on record. Scott and Pat, all in favor, and that's carried. And a motion to adjourn. Scott, and we are adjourned. Thank you.
I'm sorry, who seconded adjournment?